Okay, so what if everything you think you know about becoming wealthy and happy is, well, completely backward? We're about to dig into a really powerful idea from the entrepreneur Jim Rohn that might just flip your whole approach to success on its head.
It really all comes down to this one question. I mean, think about it for a second. Are you constantly chasing after success, kind of running yourself ragged on a hamster wheel trying to catch it? Or is there maybe another way, a way to actually pull it towards you, to attract it?
And this quote, this is the heart of it all. It's a complete 180, a total mindset shift. See, the goal isn't to chase after all the external stuff, the money, the car, the recognition. The real goal is to turn inward. Because when you work on yourself, you start to become the kind of person that success is just naturally drawn to, like a magnet. And here's the core principle that makes it all work. Your income, your happiness, your whole lifestyle, it rarely goes beyond your own personal development. So the real work isn't just grinding it out from 9 to 5. The real work is on you. Because in the end, true success isn't about what you get. It's about who you become along the way. Okay, so that sounds great, right? Work on yourself. But what does that actually mean? How do you even start? Well, that brings us to the very first, most crucial step in this whole process. You have to find out how this game of success is really played. This just reframes the whole thing. Most of us get caught in the trap of thinking, if I just had more money, all my problems would be solved. But that's just a symptom. The real problem, the root cause, is usually a lack of good ideas. If you get the right ideas, you can change your entire reality.
So where in the world do you find these game-changing ideas? Well, it boils down to 3 simple but incredibly powerful actions. You gotta become a student of life. And you do that by reading, by listening, and by observing.
So let's start with reading. Look, a formal education will get you a job, but it's self-education that'll make you a fortune. That's the real game changer. I mean, think about it. One single idea from one book could literally save you 5 years of trial and error. And all it takes is maybe 30 minutes a day. The greatest minds have already written down the answers for us.
All right, next up, you have to learn to listen. And I mean really listen. Get yourself in the same room as people who are already living the life you want. But here's a cool little twist. You can learn just as much from unsuccessful people. Pay attention to what they do, what they read, what they talk about, and then, just do the opposite. It's a lesson either way.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds completely backwards, right? But it's not about the dinner itself. The idea here is to invest in access. Let me ask you this. Would you spend $100 on a meal to get a $1 million idea? Yeah, of course you would. When you see it like that, it's not an expense. It's one of the best investments you could ever make.
And the third method is to become a master observer. You have to understand, success is not an accident. It leaves clues. It leaves a trail. Watch how successful people walk, how they talk, how they handle problems. People who do really well in life tend to do certain things over and over again. Your job is to be a detective and spot those patterns.
And this is the key difference when you're observing. There's sight, which is just seeing things with your eyes. Anyone can do that. But then there's insight. That's seeing with your mind. You're not just looking at what's happening. You're seeing the answers behind it. That's the level we're aiming for.
Okay, so you've found the ideas. You're reading, you're listening, you're observing. You're becoming an idea machine. But gathering all that information, that's only half the battle. An idea without action is worthless. And that brings us to the part that changes everything. Step 2, go to work.
And listen, this is what you should get really fired up about. Not just the cool ideas, but your own personal power to get up and act on them. The ability to make yourself do the things you know you need to do, that is your superpower. That's where the magic happens.
This is just so practical. You don't build discipline by trying to climb Mount Everest tomorrow. You start small. It's like going to the gym. Every little discipline you practice, making your bed, reading for 10 minutes, it builds that muscle. And pretty soon, you're ready for the big stuff. And remember, that motivation has to come from inside. No one else is going to do it for you.
Man, this distinction is everything. If all your learning just leads to more knowledge, you become what he calls a fool. Someone who knows exactly what to do, but never actually does it. But when your learning leads to action, that's when you can become truly wealthy in every sense of the word.
All right, so we've got the first 2 steps. Find the ideas and then take action. But there's one last piece to this philosophy. Think of it as a simple but absolutely essential caution to keep you on track for the long haul.
And it's this.
Don't look for shortcuts. Don't try to find some clever way to cheat the system. It never works in the long run. Your job is to find out how things really work and then work the system the right way. Because cutting corners, well, it only ever leads to a cheap life.
So we've covered the 3 steps: find out, go to work, and do it right. But when you boil it all down, everything we've just talked about, it all comes down to one simple thing: a personal choice.
Here's a thought, and it can be a little sobering. If you want to know what your next 5 years are probably going to look like, all you have to do is take a good, hard look at your last 5. For most people, that pattern just keeps repeating.
But, and this is the most empowering part of this whole thing, that future is not set in stone. It's not a done deal. You can decide literally starting tomorrow to make a major key change that alters that entire trajectory. You hold the key.
So, we're going to end this with a question for you, because it's not about what you've just learned, right? It's about what you're going to do. Starting tomorrow, what is that one thing you will do differently to begin attracting the life you actually want? The choice, as always, is yours.